This is interesting for me because, as you may know, often I'll have lots of slides. I have one slide today because I'm adapting. And this is one of the things that's exciting. When something comes along, like our projector says, nope, I'm done, after 8 years, 10 years, whatever, you guys are good. I thought about it this week, and I'm like, well, what else am I going to do? I'm going to adapt. This is a great lesson. So this is my first big takeaway for the year. I'm super excited. I'm trying to think of all the places I want to start, and I'm going to start with this. 10 days ago, roughly, we celebrated a big day in the new year. And you might be thinking, oh, it was January 1st, but it wasn't. On January 10th, we had what was called National Quitters Day. Have you heard of this? National Quitters Day is a day that we celebrate the idea that we're just giving up on all our New Year's resolutions. That's apparently the day that everyone just decides, you know what, forget it. Too much trouble. Who was I kidding that I was going to do that? These are the things that go through our heads. So literally, I'm surprised, like if you went into a Hallmark store, there wasn't like a Hallmark card section for National Quitters Day. But apparently, that's where we are, is that January 10th, National Quitters Day. This is interesting for me because on January 1st, I celebrated probably the most monumental thing that I have ever quit, which was drinking. So 3 years ago, I went on a journey, which at first was just going to be dry January. You might have heard of this, where people just go, you know what, a New Year's resolution to quit drinking forever and ever, that's too hard. So they made it easier, and they said, well, what if you just did it for a month? And then became dry January. And now there's other ones that are throughout the year, but I decided that I was going to do that in January of 2023, so 3 years ago. And on the New Year's Eve, I had my last glass of wine. I'm not like a huge wine fan. Brad, Karen, Stephen. But it was an amazing glass of wine. Like if that was the last thing you ever had, it was a phenomenal glass of Cabernet. Loved it. And then the next day began dry January. And what was interesting for me at first was I had thought about this for a long time, this idea of quitting and not drinking anymore. And I always came back to, gosh, it just seems too hard. I just felt like there's going to be too many instances where I would not have the willpower or the ability to stay with it. But I thought, you know what? I can do it for 1 month, and then I'll assess. And honestly, when I started, I'm like, I'm not saying this is forever. It's just for now, for this month. And what I found that was fascinating, the first week or two, the literal hardest time for me in dry January was 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock any day. Because I had a habit, a routine of 5 o'clock is when, if I was going to have something that day, that's when I would have a drink. And I had a certain routine established around it. Dr. Lori probably would have spoken about this in her habits class last year, because what a lot of times happens is you stack habits on top of that thing. So you have a drink, you do other things, and that becomes your habit. So 5 p.m. was the most challenging time for me, and here's why. Because at the time, what I was doing was relying on willpower. I was depending on my ability at 5 o'clock at the end of a day to have the will not to have a drink. And it was interesting because I've since read about this and discovered, when we have our own thoughts in Science of Mind, I'll talk about those in a sec, about will versus willpower. But willpower, it's finite and it's definitely exhaustible. They have done studies where they gave two groups of people a willpower challenge where they'd say, you can have a bar of candy now, or you can have even more later if you delay waiting. And what they found was, with those two groups, if they gave people a challenging test, those people were way more likely to not have the willpower to wait till later. They were just like, no, give me my candy bar now. So we know that if you go through the day, and this is why 5 o'clock can seem more challenging for people, because you've used up your willpower. Although, as I said, we think of it differently. We talk about willpower, which is finite, exhaustible, but maybe it's because we're not also thinking about will, which is infinite and inexhaustible. So, as I was talking about with Dr. Tiffany in the beginning of the Science of Mind textbook, the first chapter is called The Thing Itself. And he goes into great detail about what this thing is. It's infinite power, it's infinite creativity, it's love, all these attributes that we think of. And we can think of it as this is the thing. When I talked earlier about a sacred place, a place that you can be in, you could be in that place any point you want. So when he says in the chapter, The Way It Works, on page 39, he says, we do not will things to be done. Things are brought into being not by will, but the power of the self-assertive truth. So what happens in those 5 o'clock moments a lot of times is we're just going, it's got to be on me. It's got, you're white knuckling it through those moments going, it's on me to make the right choice because we're not remembering who we are. If you are in that moment, you go, you know what? I have all of the power that I need in this moment to make a choice that improves me, that makes me better, then you'll be better off. So in that chapter when he says the way it works is basically whatever you think is possible for you, that much is possible for you, whatever you choose. So I started thinking about this morning going, gosh, it would be great if there was a tool or something that I could do at 5 o'clock. And for me, I think about this now as my 5 o'clock tool. At the point in which when I think, you know what, I don't have any more willpower, how can I use will instead? So what I came up with is something, and this is what I call the kindness statement, which is a way, and it's almost an affirmation, but it's more for me than that. It is a statement of belief that I can now use and that I can believe is true. So here is this statement. And so we talked about put a little love in your heart. This is what I'm also going to suggest for you to consider. Using the following statement whenever you need to be able to address that 5 o'clock moment. The statement is, I'm the kind of person who, and then fill in the blank. I'm the kind of person who, and then fill in the blank. And the blank is up to you. Whatever you're looking for in that moment, whatever you want to reinforce in that moment, that's up to you. So an example for me, and this came about because I was thinking about last year and looking at the things that I did and going, was there any theme to what happened? And what I realized was for me, I discovered I'm the kind of person who finishes things. And this is a big theme for me this year. It is a huge area for me is I want to finish things in my life. And I discovered, gosh, you know what? Last year that was true. I really did finish things. I had, for the longest time ever, had wanted to go to Paris. We went to Paris. I had the book that I wrote for my doctoral thesis. I finished that and published that. So it wasn't just something that I said, you know what? I want this thing, but I'm not sure I believe it. I knew that there was enough evidence in this statement for me to believe that it's true. So some examples that you could employ. I'm the kind of person who follows through. I'm the kind of person who finishes things. I'm the kind of person who looks for good. And then another one that Dr. Tiffany shared with me this week, because we were talking about this idea. And she said, you know what? I'm the kind of person who wants to understand. Meaning, something's going on in the world and someone's maybe doing something and I'm not getting it, but I want to understand it. So you're coming from that place of curiosity, compassion if need be, but coming from that place of understanding. So there are reasons, I think, why this is particularly effective. One, and I call this it's a DAD, dad affirmation. So the first one is that you get to draw strength now from that group. If I say, I'm the kind of person who follows through, that means there are people who follow through. And I'm now one of them, which is great for me because now I'm not over here on an island by myself. I'm now part of this community of people who follow through. So I get to draw from that strength and be one of those kind of people. The other thing that I love about this is that it allows me to align with that kind of group. Because now I'm not just thinking about what Thor does, I'm now thinking about the quality of that group. Oh, this is the kind of group where if I said, for instance, that my statement was, I'm the kind of person who takes the stairs, meaning because I want to bring more organic exercise in my life. Well, now I'm like, well, what does this group do? I'm aligning myself with what they do. So they're the kind of people that they take the stairs. They look for opportunities to walk. They do things that are active and not like Thor's going, oh, I can't because I'm just me. Now I'm part of that group and I align with them. And the last part of this, the final D in dad, is I decide. What does that sound like? When you say, I'm the kind of person who follows through, doesn't that sound like a statement of purpose of who you are? That is a decision. Oh, well, if someone says to you, hey, can you come out and do this thing? If I know that that's not aligned with what I really want, I go, sounds great, it sounds fun, but I'm the kind of person who, and then I've just made the decision. I don't have to think anymore about whether I should do it or not, or whether it makes sense. Guess what? I'm the kind of person who does that. Makes it so much easier, so you're not relying on your own will. So, how to use this at this time of year? So, one of the things that I said was, for me, I'm the kind of person who follows through. Some other examples, and I thought about this from my own life. I am working on finishing my novel because guess what? I'm the kind of person who finishes things. So the novel that I wrote the first 50,000 words of last year, now I'm finishing it because I'm the kind of person who finishes things. And with respect to how you eat, how you exercise, again, you might say, I'm the kind of person who takes the stairs. So I'd love for Dr. Tiffany to come back up because I want to talk about this, and one of the things that we talk about a lot is, do you believe something? Like we've spoken about in teaching here. We'll stand over here. I know it's bright, isn't it?
It is bright.
We've talked a lot about the idea of affirmations. What I want to be really clear about, this is not an affirmation in the sense of saying, I'm the kind of person, like it has to come from a core belief. So when you think about that, when you said, I'm the kind of person who wants to understand, you look at your own life and go, this is true, therefore I believe it, right?
Yeah, it's another D, discovery. So first I was like exploration, and then I was like, oh, that makes it date. But if you just add another D, then it's still dad. So
yeah.
You're welcome for not ruining that for you. But
better dad than dead.
Well, this came to me when we were having the conversation. This came to me. Yes, just got it. A little slow. This came to me when we were having the conversation, actually when I was taking mental muscle. It was Judgment Week, and Dr. James asked us all, on a scale of 1 to 10, how judgmental are you? And I instantly put an 8 in the chat. And I was being very nice, because I used to be a 12, but I've really made some progress. And then our job was to hold judgment for the week and to just see what comes up. And what I started to discover was, I'm the kind of person who can see all sides of everything. I'm the kind of person who seeks to understand. I'm the kind of person that gives the benefit of the doubt when there's question. And as I started seeing that, because things were coming up in my life where that's how I was responding to the actual stimuli of my life, I was like, but wait a minute, that's not in alignment with being a judgmental person. All of those are attributes of somebody who's actually really open-minded and loving. And I realized, like, I have this personality. Each of us has personality. And so we're real quick to identify and align with that personality. Oh, people tell me I'm judgmental all the time. Like, I'll tell you if I think your shirt's ugly. But, like, when it comes to the not unsolicited, well, sometimes unsolicited. But the point is, in a comedic context or a shorthand, it's easy for me to dismiss myself as some of these things, ideas that I've aligned myself with. But when I started asking that question, and when I started saying, I'm the kind of person who will go out of my way to call people that I love just because I'm thinking of them and I miss them. I'm the kind of person who, and then it was like, oh my goodness, what else don't I know about me? Like, how amazing that there are all these additional things that I get to discover about me. And I'm like, and I came back and I was like, I'm actually a 4 on the judgmental scale. I am not an 8.
And I love that because what you were doing, and sort of as a circuitous route, in my mind, connecting us back to kindness, it's kindness to ourselves. Because what you were doing before, when you were saying I'm a 12, which is not a desirable 12, you were like, you're beating yourself up about this, and now you realize, oh, you know what, I'm actually a 4 on that because I'm the kind of person who does seek to understand, so now you feel better about yourself, right?
Yeah, I was being very judgmental about my judgmental score. And then it was like, oh, but what else is there to know? And I love that idea that I can use it in those moments where I'm tested. In those moments like, oh, you know, when somebody is coming at me with maybe something that is not kindness, or I'm looking at things like, oh, I'm the kind of person who seeks to understand. I'm the kind of person who takes a step back. I'm the kind of person who responds instead of reacts.
Yeah.
And then I get to operate in the world from my true nature rather than a box that I've put myself in or an idea of how I operate.
I love that because in those instances, if you had a couple of these phrases that you knew, this is the core of who I am. So when I send you a text, got a sec, you could be like, I'm the kind of person who's there for my friends.
I'm the kind of person that's like, thank you for distracting me from my work. Yes, please. Yes.
So I love that, and thank you so much for sharing that. I spoke with you in the middle of the week, and I'm kind of like, what do you think about this idea? And when you said that, I'm like, that unlocked everything for me because, and you mentioned mental muscle. There's a week in mental muscle, which is intention week. And so the intention week is, what's your intention for that week? What's your intention for that day? And this is really the kind of thing that you can use to go, my intention today is I'm the kind of person who uplifts other people. I'm the kind of person who takes the stairs, or whatever it is for you in those moments. Easy reminder of who you want to be, who you're intending to be in that day.
I'm really annoyed with you, though, because I feel like I'll never be able to take an elevator again. I'm the kind of person who takes the stairs.
But see, but this is the thing. If you don't feel it, then that's not right for you.
Oh, I felt it. It's
no,
fine.
but here, look at it and see. Give it some time, and if you discover that that's true, because, again, otherwise it's just an affirmation. If you don't believe it, if you can't see some evidence in your life that it's either true or true adjacent, where you're like, I can see myself wanting to go in this direction more, then it's just an affirmation, and you'll forget it in a week.
Right. Affirmations, you know, I can plaster on the wall all day long.
Yep.
But I feel like I'm going to be like, I'll just take the stairs for January. And then 3 years later, I'll be like, I'm the kind of person who takes the stairs.
There you go.
I love that.
I love it.
Okay.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
I'm going to sit down.
All right. Thank you. So I have, you might be thinking like, how would I ever possibly come up with all the statements I could possibly use? Well, guess what? I made a list of 100 of them. 100. And I was looking through this as I was going through them and going, oh yeah. It's great because you could look at it and go, you know what? That's either something I already do, something I want to accentuate, something I want more of in my life. So this little document, I've got 5 of them here, but I put them on my website. You can download it. It's completely free. Just go there, download it. It's super easy. And then you could look through it and go, are there any there that resonate with you? And I had a couple of ideas about how you could implement them. But that's on my website. It'll always be there no matter when you see it. It's just drthor.tv/kindness. So that is, I'm the kind of person who. My suggestion then is think about, as you go through today, start to try on what's the kind of person you would like to be. Maybe if you're at the mall and someone cuts you off and you go, you know what, I really do want to be the kind of person who seeks to understand, who lives in this greater, beautiful vision of what we imagine the world could be. I want to embody more kindness. You could start that today. And if you think about where you want to go in your life, sort of as you are standing here in the wreckage of Quitter's Day, and you're like, okay, now I'm going to begin again, but this time I'm going to do it with an intention, something that lifts me up, something that inspires me. I suggest that you think about who you are and who you would like to be more of in 2026 by saying, I'm the kind of person who. Namaste.